Richmond, a town and borough in southwest London, perched on the meander of the River Thames. It's a popular London destination for both tourists and locals, with its beautiful parks, historic landmarks, and bustling streets. Musical alumni that have lived or currently live in Richmond include Sir Mick Jagger, Pete Townsend, Anastasia, and none other than Rick Astley. Definitely the MVP for me. The place has a rich history. Rich history? Get it? Founded by Henry VII in the 16th century. So I'm sure many a street musician throughout the ages has frequented the streets and played along the river. But what is it like now? Is it a magical London busking paradise? Or is it better suited for high-end shopping trips and celebrity spotting? You never know. You might see Rick dancing around. I love this one. That one. There is only one way to find these things out. Here is how I got on busking in Richmond. Now then, welcome to Richmond. What a beautiful place. It's very nice here. Did you know that mund is an old English word for mound, which is like a hill? And rich is just another way of saying wealthy. So really, this place is just called Wealthy Hill. And I think it's a pretty affluent area. But that for busking doesn't always bode well. Like, you'd think that a wealthy area would be good for busking, but sometimes wealth comes with an attitude, and that attitude doesn't like buskers for some reason. But who am I to judge? I'm here to find out what it's like by being here in real life. Let's go through the rules for busking in Richmond. The rules for busking in Richmond. Well, you can find out that Rick Astley lives in Richmond easy enough. You know the rules, and so do I. But what you can't find is anything on busking. There is nothing on the Richmond Borough Council about busking or about whether you need a busking license or permit. However, as it stands, the only boroughs of London that currently require a license are Westminster, Camden, if you're using amplification, Greenwich, which is a very recent addition, and Uxbridge. As it stands, everywhere else is okay without a license. So, as there is no mention of Richmond, I'd say it's all good. I certainly didn't have any trouble when I was there. And there is plenty of evidence in the form of blog posts, YouTube videos, and news articles of other buskers doing their thing in Richmond with seemingly no problem. I think generally, if a council mentions nothing of busking, it means it's all good. It's when a council mentions that you do need a license. So it looks like Richmond Council has given us a relatively uneventful rules section to this video. So here are some guidelines of my own that I think are very relevant to Richmond. Number 1, never give it up. Number 2, never let it down. Number 3, never run around and desert the place. Number 4, never make it cry. Number 5, never say goodbye. And number 6, never tell a lie and hurt the place. Rules I think we could all live by. Anyway, let's get on with my day busking in Richmond.
Here we are then in spot number 1. Freaking out because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to busk here. I've seen videos of people online busking here, but you don't know these things. That's the beauty of busking. It's random and spontaneous. You never know. So let's see.
Spot number 1. Now, I've been to Richmond a fair few times, and when I've been there, I have seen other buskers doing their thing. So I had a rough idea of where was good to set up. For spot number 1, I set up on Lower George Street, which as I see it, it's kind of one of the only options if you want to play in the town centre.
I love to be there. Those are the best days of my life.
The combination of not really knowing Richmond's busking rules or guidelines, if there is any, as well as the kind of apprehension that comes with busking in a new place, meant I was feeling a bit unsteady. And just to add on top of all this, the manager of Pret, which was opposite me, decided to come out and tell me that I was too loud.
Sorry, do you mind to put the speaker that way? Because your sound
worries.
a door and it's very annoying with that music. You can't even hear the customers asking for the orders.
No problem. Sorry.
I've found in these situations it's best just to apologise, turn down a smidge, like a smidge, especially if you're not being that loud, and then just get on with it.
Oh, I was young and dumb, young and reckless, desperate to be found.
There has been a few moments when I've been busking and I've been asked to turn down, and I've been able to see where they're coming from. But this was not one of those situations. I definitely wasn't playing very loud. I think the manager of Pret just wanted to make his authority known. One of those kind of things. But despite my shaky beginning, things went really well, right from the start. Smiley people, a bit of dancing, singing along, donations. It was clear that the people of Richmond know how to behave around a street musician. The most frustrating thing about this spot is the road behind. You just can't escape the noise of traffic. I did see some people later on in the day, and have seen people before, set up more in the middle of Lower George Street, so they're between the shops. Whilst this might mitigate a little bit of the traffic noise, I don't think it would get rid of it. That strip of street is so small. So no matter where you go, you're always going to have a bit of traffic noise. But despite the traffic noise, things felt good, and I started to relax and enjoy myself. The only negativity I received, other than Pret's manager, was I did genuinely witness an old lady mouth, "Shut up."
Oh yeah, back in the summer of '69.
I played for an hour because I wasn't 100% sure on the rules, and I didn't want to stay too long, particularly after Pret's manager was sneering around. I wanted him to be able to hear his customers.
The problem when a busk in somewhere you've never been before starts with somebody telling you you need to turn down, or you're too loud, is it puts me in like a heightened state of worry that I'm gonna get told to move at any moment, when actually I needn't have worried, because that was a solid busk, a good 1 hour set, even with the traffic.
Spot number 2.
Thursday, I don't care about you, 'cause Friday, I'm in love.
Richmond isn't that big of a place. Despite being London, it's kind of its own little town, just tucked into the suburbs. And because of this, there isn't actually that many potential busking spots.
Say, wait, Sunday always comes too late, but Friday never hesitates.
Other than George Street, the only place you can really go is the riverside, so that's where I went.
Looking back, it's Friday, I'm in love.
It was quiet, very quiet.
Sunday always comes too late, Friday never hesitates.
Here's a fun fact for you. I occasionally do some work as a model, and back in the summer I was asked to be a promotional model for the Ivy in Richmond. This job included me dressing up as a Queen's Beefeater as part of the Queen's Jubilee celebration. Yep, I look ridiculous, but hey man, the money was really good.
All in love. Saturday way, Sunday always comes too late.
Whilst I was doing this work in the summer, I noticed that the riverside would be packed full of people. A bustling, vibrant area where people were coming down to have drinks in the summer sun, relax, take in the water. It was a real vibe.
Everything allows, and I am one of those.
However, on a festive Friday that was also very cold, there wasn't really anyone down by the river.
I give myself the creep.
It was dead. However, I've learned a few things about busking in quieter spots.
It all keeps adding up, and I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just stoned?
If there is foot traffic that is flowing consistently, it's not always such a waste of time.
My dreams. She said it's like a fist that's bringing me down.
Here in Brighton, I quite often like to play down on the seafront by the old pier, and sometimes it can seem very quiet, but there is always a flow of foot traffic, and some days, quiet days, I do very well there, as well as, or even better than I've ever done in Churchill Square or New Road, the busier areas.
It all keeps adding up.
So I decided to give the Thames path a go. I'd gone all that way, I might as well.
Boy, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not having the noise of traffic was definitely a huge factor. Not having to worry about Pret's manager coming out and telling me to turn down. It meant I was able to get into it and put a lot more into my set along the river path. I was able to freely express what I do best, perform. And although there were a lot less passers-by, the people that did see my performance were able to appreciate it a lot more, and it was clear that they did.
And I think I'm cracking up, my just paranoid, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had a lot more people stop and chat to me here too, giving me credit for sticking out in the cold. I do think it would be a really cool experience to go to this spot in the summer. Everyone's sitting, chilling, relaxing, having drinks, enjoying the sounds of August Radio Project, singing old punk rock songs, country covers, and a few originals.
Never underestimate a place that isn't that busy, because it's not about how busy it is. It's just about whether the people are vibing or not. And at this river path, people are vibing. I reckon I've made more in this spot than I did in the first spot. And there's considerably less people passing by, but the people passing by can hear it and they can appreciate it.
To find peace and quiet.
Not being 100% sure on the guidelines still, I decided to finish up after just 1 hour again.
When a country becomes a home.
To be honest, I definitely could have stayed longer. There were no signs of any other buskers. And knowing what happened next, I kind of wish I had stayed a little longer.
A universe from nothing inside my mind, it is on fire.
Hindsight's a beautiful thing.
My search for meaning, is it a feeling? What do deeply desire when I...
What a day I'm having. You know what, I was skeptical when I arrived in Richmond. I was worried that it would be like the places I've busked in central London, where there's like queues to play and strict time limit. As it stands, I think I'm the only busker in Richmond at the moment, and I'm having a good time. I was worried, you know, I said earlier about the affluent sort of attitude, but I kind of want to take that back. It's good. So after set one, I walked down here to the waterfront. There's the Busco Wheelie 3000, and here's the waterfront. And I played set two. You know, this riverside path, it's quiet today. I've been here in the summer when it's been popping, and I've seen buskers here before. And I thought that it would be busier maybe because it's a Friday. You know, it's nearly Christmas. You know, people get out of work early Fridays, especially in London areas, and they have a few drinks by the river, but it was pretty quiet. There was a few people on there like smoke breaks on Smoko. But do you know what? It was amazing. I made more money in spot 2 than I did in spot 1, despite it being quieter. And I think it's to do with the quality of the people and the fact that people can hear you better than on that traffic road. So in spot 1, I made £24.94, and in spot 2 I made £28.7p. So my overall goal is to kind of get a similar amount for a spot 3. But first of all, I'm going to enjoy some lunch. There are pigeons everywhere in Richmond, and they're hilariously tame. They like come right near you. I think I'm going to go sit up in town again, where I was before, but maybe the other side of the Christmas tree. We'll see. Look at this beautiful park. Welcome to Richmond Green. Okay, this isn't what I thought I'd be doing. My plan was to go back to where I went this morning and set up and play again. After I said the stuff about this place not being like central London and not having to queue for spots and only have 1 hour, turns out it is like that. I showed up to that spot and there is a queue of 2 people waiting, and there's currently a girl playing, so that's a no. Other spots where I think you could busk here, I'll put them on the map now. The spot opposite Dharma Coffee currently has an accordion player in it, who's rocking out some jingle bells. And then the only other spot I think you could go is the Sainsbury's near the station. Now I have no idea if that's allowed there. Probably isn't a common spot, because otherwise I think there'd be a queue of buskers there too. And then some scary man from Hungary came over to me and asked me if I could spare him any change. He's desperate, he needs food. Kind of cornered me, and I felt a bit bad, so I gave him a £5. And I'm not sure if he is actually a hungry homeless person or if he's just like a gangster who hustles people out of money. And after that I felt a bit like I kind of just want to go home. So that's what I'm going to do, because some days it's just better to take it easy and let the other buskers do their thing. I'm not a local to here. I don't want to, you know, like murk all the busking spots. I clearly got very lucky this morning, and I don't reckon anyone's down the riverside because I reckon they think it's too quiet. But we both know now that quiet spots tend to be some of the best. I feel like I've completed Richmond. Would I recommend it for busking? I think there's better places nearby, like Kingston and Windsor, if I'm honest. So back to future me. Woo! Richmond, the wealthy hill. I am slightly gutted I didn't get to see Rick Astley, but don't worry, never gonna give up. It was strange that I managed to busk in Richmond without having to do the whole queue thing. The idea of like waiting for the spot and having to put your equipment in the queue, and it's something that's very accustomed to London. I haven't really found it anywhere else. Not yet anyway. I experienced it when I was busking on Bankside, and if I'm honest, I'm not a fan. Especially knowing there are so many places that I can go and just set up and just play. And play for hours. And in the case of Richmond, Kingston is just a 20-minute train ride away, which has a lot more of a liberal vibe. No queue in there, and plenty of spots too. That said, it's clear that Richmond is good for busking. Had I had another opportunity to play on the day I was there, my total definitely would have been a lot larger. And what I made for 2 hours work, it's not bad. I do wonder if busking is allowed outside Richmond train station. If you happen to be a Richmond busker or somebody who has busked in Richmond, then maybe let us know in the comments if you can do that. It'd be good to know. Woo! This will be my last video of 2022. Bonkers. I have uploaded 50 videos this year. 50. I think at the beginning of January, I had just over 100 subscribers. I am super grateful to be in this position now and to have the channel where it's at. It's super rad. Next Monday will obviously be 2023, and as far as I'm concerned, uploads are gonna continue. Every Monday, week in, week out. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a like if you liked it, and hit subscribe. 2023's goal is 100% to get to 1,000 subs. Hopefully beyond. If you are a true fan, put the notifications on. I am August Radio Project, and I will see you in the next video next Monday, 2023. In the meantime, watch the video that's on the screen, or maybe just check out the other videos on the channel. I will see you very soon. Peace, love, and Happy New Year, depending on when you're watching this. Woo!